Southside 457. Welcome to a special episode of the Southside 457 podcast. We are here at the Southside Studios at the grand opening. I'm your host, Walter Johnson Jr., and the guest that we have right now is Rocket Ismail, and he is a former Dallas Cowboy, former Raiders.
Former Raider for the Panthers. I went to school. Matter of fact, I played in the CFL my first 2 years out of school with the Toronto Argonauts, and I went to university at Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana.
Right on.
And I held from 10 years old on the great state of Pennsylvania, where I attended Myers High School, which is now no longer in existence, home of the mighty Mohawks. Salute to anybody who's out there from Mohawk land. Let's go.
Okay, so a quick question before we get started.
All right.
Why do they call you Rocket?
I got the name in 8th grade. I was first year of track in Pennsylvania. Like, track season starts like right after basketball season, which is like ends in February, but it's still snow on the ground outside. Yeah. So we're in the high school gymnasium. We're practicing and we're doing starts. And our coach, he was a legend. I had a whole bunch of legendary coaches. The track coach, his name was Jim Cross. They call him Boss Cross.
Yeah.
So Boss was like, hey, he took $1 out of his pocket. He put it at a certain distance in front of the blocks. And he said, if you come out of the blocks the way I'd show you, you'll come out low, you'll maximize your start, you'll be able to pick the dollar up at one fell swoop, and you can
continue.
You have an excellent beginning to your race. So because it was a junior senior high.
Yeah.
So all the upperclassmen go first. We go last. I'm like maybe third to the last or something like that. And nobody before me picks up the dollar. And so he's trying to explain how you come out the blocks properly, but nobody's doing it. So I get up in there, and this is my first year in track. I get in the blocks, boom, come out, pick the dollar up, and I finish my start. And he spoke in real life like the penguin, the back in the day penguin from Batman, like he had that kind of a voice, right? Yeah. So when I got the dollar, he said, hey, did you see that? Did you see that? Hey, come here. What's your name? So I'm a little, I guess I'm embarrassed. I'm not embarrassed. I don't know what the word is, but I'm like, oh man, why is he like singling me out?
Yeah.
All of the upperclassmen, I could sense that they were like, oh, look at this little, first year guy.
Yeah.
He said, do it again. So I'm like, oh my gosh, now I gotta do it again. And I don't even know if I can do it. I just thought it was luck. Got in the blocks, did it again.
Right on.
Man, he goes, that's it. He came out the blocks like a rocket. Now,
yeah,
everybody, I could feel it was like, who is this little 8th grader, and he's the only one that can do it. So at the time, just to give you context, Saturday Night Live had a skit. I forget the guy's name that did it, but he would make fun of people, not make fun of them, but in his way celebrate them when it came to the copy machine to make copies. And so he would say, Big Mike making copies, Mike making copies. And everybody who came would do that. So I'm walking through the halls, and I happen to be on the 3rd floor. I mean, we had a massive, physically in size school.
Yeah.
From 12th grade to 7th grade, it might have been 700 students. And some of the upperclassmen saw me, and they started doing that skit on me.
Yeah.
But they were saying, oh, it's the Rocket Man, rock around the clock, rock until you stop. All at one time. And it was like, from that moment on, everybody started calling me Rocket.
That's a great story, man.
To this day.
That's a great story.
That's the origin story.
That's a great story. Man. So what brings you out to Southside Studios in the significance? Like what brings you out here?
So my wife is a creative force, and I've learned in our marriage, we're like 29 years in marriage now, and I've learned that instead of just like resisting when she wants to go out and meet people and network and see what all the cities that we happen to live in has to offer, I just, instead of resisting, now I flow in harmony with her, and she has a project that she's working on, and it's crazy because when we first came here, one of the people, like a big time cat in the world of film and film production, he has like one of the top, if not the top, I don't know what they call episodic television show in the country, if not the world. She was like, hey, I need to meet so-and-so. I was like, I don't know who so-and-so is. And so I was like, well, hey, get your Google out, put the image in, and show me who it is, and we can look for him. And so, first room we go to, we find him, and she is not like me. I will never walk up to somebody and be like, hey, man, how you doing? Nice to meet you. She's like, okay, this might be him. We walk up to him, and she was like, are you, and he was like, yeah. And bam, started the conversation. It's good. I understand the power of networks and the power of relationships. And then I introduce myself. We chop it up a little bit. I get at times I get moments of divine inspiration, and I can feel it.
Yeah.
And so I shared about a 2-minute snippet with him, and he was and it was for the next season of their production, and he was looking at me like, yo, okay, I got food for thought.
Right.
So productive and being able to work in harmony with my wife is how I got here. Long story short.
So tell me this. So now that Southside Studios in Dallas, what does that mean for the city?
Oh, so I've lived in Los Angeles. I remember when we first moved to Dallas, and the Cowboys had their headquarters in Valley Ranch.
Yeah.
So I moved up the hill in Las Colinas, and one of the selling points that allowed for the value of that community to go up was that they had a complex that was maybe half the size of this, that was for filming and production purposes.
Oh, at the Las Colinas Studios.
Yes.
I remember that.
And everybody, when they were selling the value of Las Colinas to us,
it was around that whole film.
Bam. They mentioned it. So the fact that
I totally forgot about that.
Bruh, this, and we have relatives in Atlanta and places like that. I used to live in Toronto, Canada, which is huge in the film production realm and in the just the production realm, period. But when you have facilities like this, the value of where it is and what's around it, it goes up, and it becomes beneficial, profitable, and a blessing ultimately to people who are in that space.
Right on. So, there's anything I didn't ask you that you want to leave them with?
Okay, gotcha.
Just look at this camera and tell them.
One of the reasons why your most fervent prayers are not being answered is because the Most High would do you a disservice if he were to answer your prayer. And it would be a disservice because you're still not aware of your blind spots. And because you're not aware of your blind spot, if the shine from the answered prayer were to be manifest in your midst, it will cause you to plummet to your death because you're not aware of where you're standing. So, that being the case, it's more important that you pray Father, show me my blind spots. Show me the answers, remedies, and solutions that allow me to overcome the same, so that the glory that you desire to reveal to me, I can be a good, productive, and fruitful steward over it, and it would bless instead of curse. I offer that to you. Rocket Ismail saying grace and peace, divine salute to the listeners and the watchers. Until the next time.
Right on, Rocket.
Southside 457.